The fear of clowns. 3 scientists, Papaia, Banani, and Ravioli, and their assistant Igor, who work at Nasal, begin to take an interest in creationism. Their superiors, worried about this, send them to see a psychologist, Professor Fagioli, a shady character determined to get them fired by making them look insane. We are now in Professor Fagioli's office, and it's Banani's turn. Fagioli, you were telling me about your nightmare. The main threat seems to come from this clown chasing you. Are you by any chance afraid of clowns? Banani, I'm not afraid of clowns. I'm terrified of them. Clowns give me the creeps. I can't understand how anyone could find them funny. That white paint on their faces, those huge fake smiles. I don't even want to think about it. Fagioli, I don't like clowns either. I don't like them because they're stupid. In life, you have to be serious, not stupid. Those clowns are all slackers. I'd send them to do hard labor. Let's see if they'd still laugh. Digging up the soil, it's a real job. What's the point of laughing? None. In life, we don't need laughter. We need work. We need to dig the soil. Fagioli has momentarily lost himself in his extremist vision about clowns and everything that brings laughter. Igor. Fagioli wants to send all the clowns to dig the soil. Just picture the scene. Literally. 3 clowns digging a field. One hits the other's oversized shoe with a hoe. The second bursts into fake spraying tears, and the last one tries to plow with an inflatable hoe. In the end, according to Fagioli, there's no need for laughter. Unless he's the one making the jokes. How funny. SavedBlog.com. The Party Crasher. Flashback, garden of a country house. Sunny afternoon. 1970s. A group of children sits in a circle. Balloons, cotton candy, a train-shaped cake. The clown Pompelmo entertains the little ones with tricks and forced laughter. A clown waving a puppet. And now little Mr. Stinky sings with me. Children, laughing. Ah ha 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 ha. Suddenly, clang! The gate bursts open. Fagioli's father enters, covered in dirt, holding a hoe. He looks like a man who despises childhood. Fagioli's father, shouting, "What is this circus nonsense? Who paid the slacker?" Birthday. Boy's mom, stepping forward, agitated. "Excuse me, sir. This is a private party. I must ask you to leave Fagioli's father," holding up the hoe. "Ma'am, you see this? This is your ticket to reality." Birthday boy's dad, trying to calm things down. "Please lower that hoe. There are children here." Fagioli's father, shouting, "Children must learn the harsh truth. Forget soap bubbles. If you don't dig, you don't eat." Clown Pompelmo begins to back away, trying to keep a smile on his face. Clown, stammering, "Sir, I just do entertainment. They pay me in meal vouchers." Fagioli's father, raising the hoe. "Then let me give you a shovelful of reality." The clown runs away, screaming, tripping over a plate of chips. The children burst into tears. Birthday. Boy's mom, furious. "Are you insane? You're traumatizing our children." Fagioli's father, solemn tone. "I'm preparing them for life." Little Fagioli, sitting on a tiny chair, watches with teary eyes. He clutches a licorice stick. Young Fagioli, whispering, "One day, I'll have a hoe too." Igor. If bursting into strangers' homes with a hoe was Fagioli's father's ticket to reality, then he was still 3 kilometers outside the entrance. Speaking of reality, according to him, a hoe-induced concussion was supposed to snap the clown back to it. Yeah, maybe to the afterlife's reality. Instead of preparing the kids for life, maybe Fagioli's dad was prepping them for the next world war. The kind where out of nowhere, the enemy storms your house armed with a hoe. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Example beneath the red wall limestone. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are discussing a book Banani found about geological evidence for Noah's flood. Ravioli. Any other examples? Papaia. Beneath the base of the red wall limestone, the underlying Muave limestone was rapidly eroded in some localized areas, forming channels. Ravioli. Channels? Papaia. Yes. These channels were later filled with sandy limestone, forming the Temple Butte limestone. Ravioli. Aside from those rare exceptions, the boundary between the Mojave and the Redwall limestone, as well as between the Temple Butte and the Redwall limestone, appears flat and featureless. Papaia. Exactly. And those are typical signs of continuous deposition. Ravioli. In fact, looking at the diagram here, in some places it's impossible to tell where the Mojave ends and the Redwall begins. Papaia. That's because the Mojave limestone continued to be deposited even after the Redwall limestone had started forming. Ravioli. That really challenges uniformitarian geology, doesn't it? Papaia. Yes, the Mojave limestone would have been deposited around 500 and 520 million years ago. The Temple Butte limestone about 100 million years later, 350, 400 million years ago, and then the Redwall limestone several million years after that, 330, 340 million years ago. Ravioli. But based on the evidence, it makes way more sense to believe these limestones were deposited continuously, not with millions of years between them. Igor. And now Ravioli's a geology expert? Hard to believe that just 10 minutes ago, he was crying in front of a sock in Fagioli's office. How funny. SaveItBlog.com. The birthday party. We're in Professor Fagioli's office. Banani's session continues. Fagioli? Yes, where were we? Banani. I was talking about my clown phobia, but if you prefer, we can talk a bit about you. Fagioli. No, go on. Did you experience anything in particular that fed this fear? Banani. Yes. The first incident goes back to kindergarten, during my classmate Gigi's birthday party. Fagioli. Go ahead. Flashback outside Gigi's backyard afternoon. Music, kids playing, balloons, entertainment. Banani, 6 years old, is running around with his friend Leo. Leo, come on, let's hide in the shed. Banani, great idea. They open the shed door. Inside, sitting on a crate, is a clown. He's talking to himself in a desperate tone. Clown, to himself. I had my own act, my own show, and she, that witch, ran off with that two-bit juggler. The clown pulls out a flask and takes long gulps. Banani and Leo cover their noses. Leo, whispering, that stinks, it's alcohol. Banani, whispering, let's sneak out quietly. But they make noise. The clown notices them. The kids run off. Outside, cake table. Moments later, all the kids are gathered around the cake. The clown stumbles in. Kids, excitedly. The clown! The clown! Banani, voiceover. He was laughing and walking like he was acting, but it wasn't an act. The clown slips and falls face first into the cake. Sponge and cream fly everywhere. Gigi's mom, oh my God, is he okay? Gigi's dad, he looks drunk. The clown gets up, covered in cake, stumbles again, and trips into the lit barbecue. A burst of flames, screams, Banani, voiceover. It was one of those old-fashioned cakes, sponge and rum. A bomb, and he was already soaked. The clown catches fire, he screams, flails, and Banani, voiceover. Then, like in a horror movie, he started running toward the pool. The pool is on the other side of the yard. The kids freeze, watching him come toward them in flames, covered in scorched cream and frosting. Leo, he's coming toward us. Banani, voiceover. We were right in the middle, between him and the water, and it looked like he was coming straight at us. The clown stumbles, gets back up, yells something incomprehensible, then collapses just a few feet from the kids. The parents rush over and cover him. The water finally puts the fire out. Outside front gate. Moments later, an ambulance arrives. The paramedics load the clown onto a stretcher. He's alive, but trembling, burned, covered in cream and smoke. As they lift him, he mutters disjointed words. Clown, I just wanted to make balloon animals. Back to present Professor Fagioli's office. Banani. Since that day, every time I see a clown, I get the feeling he's about to run straight at me. Fagioli, I see. A powerful scene. Traumatically clownish. Igor. If you ask me, someone missed a golden opportunity here. And that someone is Fagioli. He should have accepted when Banani offered to talk about him for a bit. Anyway, the line, "We were talking about clowns," right before, "Should we talk about you now?" directed at Fagioli, felt suspiciously ironic to me. Like if you reword Banani's sentence, it'd be, "We've just talked about clowns. Since we're on the subject, why don't we talk about you, Fagioli?" But on another note, that story reminded me of those old cakes, so soaked in alcohol that if you stuck a slice in a bottle, you could use it as a Molotov. Also, we totally underestimated that clown. Sure, he was down on his luck, but the guy definitely had a sense of humor. I mean, think about it. Fired from the circus, dumped by his girl, nearly burned alive. And all he says is, "I just wanted to make balloon animals?" Well, sorry, clown. Mission failed. Still, one way or another, you sure gave us a show. Yeah, a show with you as the Human Torch. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Bent rocks. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are talking about a book Banani found on the geological evidence of Noah's flood. Ravioli, what else does it say? Papaia, here it talks about bent rocks. Ravioli, bent? But rocks don't usually bend. Papaia, you're right. Rocks break because they're hard and brittle. However, in many places we find entire sequences of rock layers that have been bent without fracturing. Ravioli, how is that possible? Papaia, all the rock layers were deposited rapidly and bent while they were still moist and pliable before they fully hardened. That's the explanation. Ravioli, I see. Does the book give any examples? Papaia, we've got the Tapayat sandstone in the Grand Canyon. It's bent at a right angle, 90 degrees, with no signs of breaking. Yet this bending could have only happened after all the other layers were already in place. Ravioli, in theory, that would have taken 480 million years, with the Tapit sandstone staying moist and moldable all that time. Papaia, yeah, I really doubt that's the case. Igor, some rocks in the Grand Canyon are bent, just like Ravioli in after-school detention when he was punished for refusing to eat fish. He bends, but he doesn't break. How funny. SavedBlog.com. The clown in the closet. We're back in Professor Fagioli's office. Banani's session continues. Int. Professor Fagioli's office. Fagioli. Earlier you said clowns haunted you throughout your childhood. I take it there were other incidents as well? Banani. Yes, Professor. The worst of them all is the one I still dream about today. Fagioli. You're referring to the clown in the closet. The one you mentioned before. Banani. Yes, that one. Flashback X'd. McDonald's. Fast food afternoon. Flickering sign. Scent of fried food in the air. Kids smearing ketchup everywhere. A back door creaks open. Inti, maintenance room continuous. Dripping pipes, flickering lights. Banani's father, Papa Banani, in his 50s, is kneeling near an outlet, screwdriver and flashlight in his mouth. He works skillfully, then sighs. Sergio, the owner, walks in, chubby, with a greasy striped shirt and a tiny mustache, chewing on a sandwich as he talks. Sergio. So, how's the sign look, Banani? Papa Banani. Fixed. I replaced the burnt wires and reinforced the base. It shouldn't short out anymore, even when it rains. Sergio laughs. Perfect. And the fryer? Papa Banani. That's worse. I'll come back tomorrow with the right parts. Papa Banani stands up, wipes his hands on a rag, and glances at the storage corner. There's a dusty statue of a clown, McDonald's' official mascot, with a painted smile and open arms. Papa Banani. What about that? It's in rough shape. Sergio. The mascot. We haven't used it in months. Kids start crying the moment they see it. But if you can fix it, maybe we'll put it back in the play area. Papa Banani. Can I take it home? I'll work on it more calmly there. Sergio. Go ahead. It's just collecting dust in here. But watch out, yeah? That thing always gave me the creeps. Papa Banani. Sure, it's creepy, but it's just plastic and paint. What's the worst it could do? He laughs. Sergio doesn't. Sergio. Yeah, what could it do? Ex-McDonald's parking lot sunset. Papa Banani loads the statue into the trunk of his old compact car. Papa Banani. There we go. Bit bulky for the garage. You're going in the closet. End of flashback. fagioli. Though I despise the food they serve, I know those peddlers of saturated fats well. Banani. It was super famous in town. There was always a line. And that statue, they used to keep it at the entrance. Fagioli. I see where this is going. Their mascot is a clown. Banani. Exactly. My dad put it in the closet. He said he'd fix it the next day. But that night, flashback. Banani's house hallway night, silence. A bedroom door creaks open. 8-year-old Banani, sleepy-eyed, shuffles barefoot through the dark. Young Banani, sleepy, need water. He heads toward the kitchen but opens the wrong door. It's the closet. The hallway light partially illuminates the inside. And there it is, the clown. Tall, rigid, frozen smile, glassy stare, looking straight into his eyes. Young Banani, blood-curdling scream. The light switches on. His parents rush into the hallway. Banani's mom, what's happening? What's going on? Banani's dad. Something wrong? Trembling, Banani points at the closet. Young Banani, in there. He was watching me. His father slowly opens the closet. The statue is there, motionless. He sighs. Banani's dad. It's just the statue, son. It doesn't do anything. Banani's mom. We didn't know it scared you that much. Back to present Fagioli's office. Fagioli, were your parents aware of your phobia? Banani. After the birthday incident, the wealthier kids were sent to a psychologist. Me. Well, handyman work didn't exactly pay much. Fagioli. I see, but did they help you in any way? Banani. They thought I'd gotten over it. Also because I never wanted to talk about it. Banani looks down. In the shadows, Igor shifts slightly and mutters. Igor, Sergio, the owner of the place, looked at that clown statue and said, what's the worst it could do? Well, it seems Banani wasn't the only one in town with coulrophobia. Yeah, what can a statue do? Tap dance? Play cards? I don't know. And apparently neither did Sergio. Okay, Sergio, let me help you out. Know what a statue can do? Nothing. Same as rocks dream about. You know, people at Banani's hometown were a bit weird, starting with his family. Let's piece this together. Dad puts the statue in the closet. Then little Banani wakes up in the dead of night, groggy, opens the wrong door, and bam, face to face with the clown. And then Mom says, we didn't know it scared you that much. Sorry, but that line is suspicious. Suspicious and out of place. What does she mean by that? That it wasn't an accident? First off, she says, we didn't know. We. So both parents knew the statue was in there? Okay, maybe Mom knew. But come on. After watching a clown go up in flames with his own eyes, did they really think a clown statue would only scare him a little? Maybe it was a test to see if little Banani was still scared of clowns. Of course he was. Or maybe they just wanted a good laugh and things got out of hand. Ha! Mom and Dad, what a prank. Thanks, I had a great time. Just one more tiny childhood trauma. Now that's what I call sensitive parenting. How funny. Savedblog.com. As we'd expect. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are discussing a book Banani found about the geological evidence for Noah's flood. Ravioli. I just don't get it. I mean, really, how could a series of sedimentary layers bend without fracturing? Papaia. The only way is if all the sediment layers were deposited rapidly and then bent while they were still soft and pliable. Ravioli. We can't explain that using millions of years. Papaia. If the global flood as described in Genesis 7 and 8 really happened, what kind of evidence would we expect to find? Ravioli. Rock layers all over the world filled with billions of dead animals and plants, rapidly buried and fossilized in sand, mud, and limestone. Papaia. And that's exactly what we find in those rock layers, sometimes even folded. Igor. Exactly what the rescue team expects to find at the end of this day in the waiting room. My skeleton with a long white beard. I mean, that's exactly what happened if I hear Papaia and Ravioli Repeat the same stuff one more time. How funny. Saveblog.com. The clown in the elevator. We're in Professor Fagioli's office. Banani's session continues. Fagioli, do you have any other clown-related incidents to tell me about? Banani. Yes, there's one last episode, maybe the most terrifying of all. Flashback shopping mall. Banani and his parents enter through the automatic doors. Shop assistant. Welcome. We opened just last week. Let us know if you like it. Mom. Honey, look at that store window. It's beautiful. Dad. Beautiful, but pricey. Banani. Mom, Dad, I want to try the glass elevator. Mom. No, wait, Banani, don't take it alone. Banani disobeys and steps into the elevator. Dad. Oh, for heaven's sake. Banani. Okay, here, button 2, the second floor. The doors are about to close, but a hand stops them. A clown enters, silent, staring blankly into space. Banani, to himself. What a filthy, horrible look. He looks like he crawled out from under a bridge. Banani, narrating. His clothes were dirty and worn, and the stench coming off them was unbearable. The clown didn't even notice me. He started talking to himself, like he was in his own world. At first, his words were unintelligible. Clown, murmuring. You don't get it, but I told you. The wind. The wind takes everything. Banani, narrating. Then, without warning, he began shouting nonsense, like he was arguing with someone who wasn't there. Clown, yelling. You stole the key. It can't be. The dream key. What do I do now? Will you give it back? Banani, narrating. He gestured wildly, never even looking at me, and I just stood there, frozen. I've never been so scared in my life. Not even at the birthday party. Clown, growing angrier. I can't take it anymore. I hear voices. I can't. It's not fair. It's not fair. As he spoke, the clown started punching the air, but not at Banani, who remained paralyzed in the corner of the elevator. Then the doors opened at the first floor, and the clown got off. End of flashback. Banani. I've never been so scared in my life. Not even at the birthday party incident. The elevator felt like it took an eternity to reach the upper floor. Eventually we got there, and the clown stepped out, while I stayed inside, like I was glued to the wall. After a while, my parents called the elevator, worried, and they found me there, completely traumatized. Fagioli. Certainly a traumatic experience for a child of that age. How old were you? Banani. No, I wasn't a child. It happened last month. Fagioli. Wait, your parents still treat you like a child? Banani. I wouldn't say so. What made you think that? Fagioli. Why weren't you allowed to take the elevator alone? Banani. Because I was supposed to help them carry the shopping bags. You know, Fagioli, they're getting on in years. Fagioli. Interesting, Banani. Very interesting. Fagioli takes notes. Igor. A truly flawless marketing strategy. Let us know if you like it. How? By mail? Or maybe Banani could have yelled, I love it, from the escalator. Definitely a foolproof customer feedback system. Back to the incident, I agree with Banani. I mean, choose between a clown burning alive and lunging at you, or a madman mumbling in an elevator. Honestly, I'd pick the burning clown any day, hands down. Then Fagioli asks if Banani was a child, and Banani replies, it was last month. At first I laughed too at the punchline, but then I stopped and reflected, and realized. Banani's statement wasn't accurate, because last month, just like always, Banani is still a child. Okay, in this story we clearly see the law of sowing and reaping in action. You tried to be clever, huh, Banani? You made your elderly parents carry the bags. Well, serves you right. Now take that clown. How funny. Savedblog.com. Button panels poetry. We are in Professor Fagioli's office. Banani's session continues. Fagioli, in an inspired tone, hands clasped behind his back, eyes distant. Banani, have you ever stopped to really observe elevator button panels? Not just look at them, I mean, really observe. Listen to them. Because every button panel has its own character. A personality, a mechanical soul. I've been observing them for years. In shopping malls, hospitals, parking garages. Sometimes I don't even get in. I just approach, study the layout of the buttons, the fingerprints left behind, the spacing between each one. Some button panels speak elegantly. Others shout, shove, shine too much. Some want to be modern, with glass and touchscreens. But I prefer the old ones, with buttons that click, that resist just beneath your finger, that seem to say, if you want to go up, prove you're worthy. Once I found a button panel with the fourth floor button pressed so many times that it lost its letter. It had become just a smooth circle, like a nameless mystery. And you know what, Banani? I stood there for 20 minutes. Not to go up, just to contemplate. Button panels. Our confessionals for vertical travelers. Maps of desires. Small temples at thumb's reach. Fagioli pauses. Then he sits down, very serious and in a whisper. Yes, Banani. I am a button panel observer. Flashback. Basement of an office building, nighttime. The space is bare, lit by flickering neon lights. The only sound is the hum of the lighting, and down the corridor an elevator with closed doors. In front of the button panel, Professor Fagioli stands still, eyes fixed on the panel. Glass-like gaze, unkempt beard, dust-stained pants. No bag, no watch. Just him and the elevator buttons. In? The building owner arrives, an elderly man in a wrinkled coat, accompanied by two paramedics. Owner, astonished. There he is, still there, hasn't moved an inch. He must have been here for days. The paramedics cautiously approach. Paramedic 1, looking closely at Fagioli. Regular pulse, but his gaze is completely vacant. Catatonic. His eyes only follow the buttons. Owner, sighing. I thought he was an installer on break. Then I noticed he wasn't eating, nor drinking, just staring. The paramedics gently place Fagioli on a stretcher. He offers no resistance. His arms remain still at his sides. Paramedic 2, while loading him into the ambulance. It's like he saw something. Something too much. Fagioli, barely audible, murmuring. The button with no floor. What happens if I press it? The elevator doors close. The ambulance drives away. Igor, have I ever stopped to observe elevator button panels? No, never. In fact, when I get in an elevator, I close my eyes and feel for the button by touch. As for Fagioli and his elevator romanticism, no words, it explains itself. Again here, Fagioli isn't the only one living outside reality. When the owner says Fagioli wasn't eating or drinking, that just confirms it. Excuse me, Mr. Owner, but what was he supposed to do? Eat and drink in the elevator? Maybe he could have brought in a table, a chair, and a menu. Or no, friends, we underestimated this owner. Turns out he's a real entrepreneur. He wanted to open a restaurant in the elevator. Who would have thought? A genius. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Did you enjoy the story? You can find many more on our website, SavedBlog.com. The link is available in our bio. Consider supporting us by leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching.